Hey guys, how's it going? Um, so for the research paper, I realized that when we had that module on reform and there was that video on that school where students had the opportunity to interact with nature and there was like animals all over the place. For me, that was mind blowing. Like I had never seen schools that way. I never knew there were schools like that. Um, so having never seen that, it kind of got me thinking like, man, we should really change um, the school building designs. So in that video, there's the building had designated areas for learning life skills, such as cooking and sewing. Um, but the focus of my research is on how other disciplines can improve the rigid school designs of public school buildings. I was interested in how architecture can improve sensory processing of our public school buildings. Um, so right now everything's like, just squares, rectangles, straight lines. Um, there's no change from classroom to classroom, even though I might be teaching math. It looks exactly the same as the teacher that's teaching English. She might have a few things up on the wall that are different, but overall, the design, the way they come into the classroom, it's all the same. Nothing changes. Um, we condition the students that this is the only way they can learn by sitting down um, in desk, individual desk, and watching me, give out the lesson. So just with all this stuff, the Serena Hammond to one of the other classes we had, just the brain function, I think that was so interesting as well. So try to tie that in here. So how the findings and research of neuroscience can help. Sorry about that. Can help to reinforce different designs of our school buildings and classrooms. And I slightly touched on psychology and what that discipline and the research there can teach us about our environment and how we as humans interact. There's so much emotions that go on when you're walking into buildings. Your brain is trying to make sense of them, and for example, like walking into you know old architecture, like in Italy, a church down there, the Vatican or something like that. Just huge, um, huge building, right? And you walk in, it's dark, kind of got a dark hallway, and as soon as you get through that darkness, boom, just light everywhere. Um, and I think we can get more of that in the school buildings and in classroom design, um, so that the environment in which students are learning are um, what do you call it, encourage creativity, just like those same buildings, what it took to make them. So all in all, we have to understand that our current system restricts many improvements because everything we do revolves around money in the U.S., especially public. And there's a lot of things that we miss on because of those restrictions for funding. Um, our buildings need a lot, and we should incorporate other research to develop the best learning environments. Keeping in mind culture, local and regional sources, materials, and um, I think not only like carbon footprint, but human footprint. Um, Making sure that the people that are here in the area, that we hire those type of companies that are part of the community, part of the region, instead of like going and outsourcing a bunch of work, because then it builds up on that sense of community, and it should be from the very foundation of the physical building, I think. Um, so yeah, so okay, maybe focus on the development on our brain as well, um, for the architecture and the design of the buildings, keeping in mind the development of our brain and how different regions communicate in our brain all the time, shooting off signals and messages. When you walk into a building, like, oh man, you kind of get depressed. It's a dark building. There's maybe two windows. It's old. Teacher's old, right? It's just kind of, it puts you in a I mean, not in a learning mood, I would say. And then there's another cool, interesting thing about temperature and HVAC and how um, it can give you a bunch of headaches. There's a lot attributed to headaches with the AC. There's a chance to try and call for better designs for our students to have school become a unique place of learning, and education can be open and welcoming for all backgrounds. But instead, we put students into four walls and disconnect them from the real world. Um, and I think our school design buildings are flawed, and it feels like we don't even try. So when a student steps in the classroom, why should he even try? The place I'm at looks like just like the place I left. Four walls. There's nothing going on. All this stuff you're trying to teach me doesn't really matter because look around, right? All right.